Most disturbing trail cam footage no one was supposed to see. It was not going to be business as usual, not today. He may have wanted to hunt warthogs, but standing before him was a creature he had not seen, not even in the folklore of his people. Seeing the sheer size of the creature made his blood run cold. His heart began to race in ways he never thought possible. Was he safe? Was he going to make it out alive, or was he merely taking his last breath? Welcome back to Classified Stories, and today I'll be showing you 5 pieces of trail cam footage no one was supposed to see. Be warned, you may find what you're about to see terrifying. We start off today's video with this footage of a deer running through the woods. I'm sure you can see without me having to say much that there is something wrong with the face of the deer. It gives you Resident Evil and The Last of Us vibes, especially with the kinds of mutation animals in these stories have. But was that a mutated deer? Apparently not. Had it been shot then? No, it had not. What was it then? After changing the resolution of the picture and zooming in, it became apparent that the face of the deer was actually fine, and she was running or had been running for a while, which had caused it to stick its tongue out. What was chasing it though? Turns out someone's hunting dog had picked up its scent and it was running for its dear life. Did it survive? This we will never know. Still on the deer, this next trail cam footage is a bit on the eerie side of things. What do you do when an image keeps showing up on your trail cam captures in the same low, awkward stance over and over while looking translucent? I don't know about you, but perhaps if it were me, I'd look for an exorcist and have it handled. A young man who lived near wildlife decided to set up a trail camera to observe the kind that visited his property. At first, everything was good, and he realized he had some interesting visits, which were complemented by some pretty good and interesting shots. He was pleased with his work until he realized that the deer showed up more than once, and anytime it did, it was almost translucent. He double-checked all the footage and confirmed it was only that specific deer that always looked like that. The other deers looked very normal. This worried him so much that he reached out for help. Unfortunately, I don't have the answers, and until I do, we'll have to call it the ghost deer. What do you guys think? Next up is something a little lighthearted. I mean, nothing gets as lighthearted as coyotes, right? In this footage, what you see are urban coyotes fighting with an intruder that had invaded their territory. If you know anything about these creatures, you know that they're territorial, which explains what you were seeing in the footage. But what makes this trail cam footage special? If you pay attention to the video, you'll realize that the coyotes are making absolutely no noise, which is very uncharacteristic of such dog-like creatures. Typically, when creatures like these clash, expect some levels of noise and barking, but none of that happened here. But why? The answer, while simple, is also very surprising. These urban coyotes have adapted to live quietly because they know that making noise will attract humans, which could lead to their deaths. Smart, right? Perhaps many of these creatures are much smarter than we give them credit for. Who knows? If you're enjoying this video and haven't hit the like and subscribe buttons already, this would be a good time to do so. What would you do if you saw cat paw prints on your property, especially if they looked like they belonged to a very big cat? Well, unsure of what he was looking at, a man from Idaho set up a trail cam to capture whatever was responsible for the paw prints on his property, and boy, was he in for a shock. It was no house cat. It was something along the lines of a mountain lion that had made itself at home on his property and had decided to dedicate his time and effort to hunt as often as possible on the property. It might not have been the discovery he was looking for, but it was one that might have saved his life. At least, he'll know how to conduct himself on the property. Talking about animals that are out of place, have you ever seen cranes taking a casual stroll through the woods? Well, this trail cam captured something that not many would have thought a possibility. What were these cranes doing in the woods? Were they migrating, or is there something more sinister at play that we don't know about? Share your ideas with us in the comment section. And now for the video for which you're here, the feral hog hunt that didn't go as anticipated. In the swamps of Mississippi, a young man went to his regular spot hoping to hunt down some feral hogs. He got to his spot by 6 p.m. There was nothing to worry about as this was something he did on a regular. But today was no regular day. Close to 50 yards from his spot, he could hear some noise. Getting his gun ready and looking in that direction, he sees it's no feral hog. Instead, something he'd never seen before. The creature before him was black, hairy, and muscular. He couldn't tell how tall it was, but he knew it had to be quite tall, judging from its height in its crouched position. Startled, he takes his phone out to record. At least he'd have to have some evidence when he told people he'd seen such a creature, lest people teased and made fun of him. Beyond that, it was also to confirm that his eyes weren't playing tricks on him. After all, it was hard to believe that there could be something so big and scary on the same property he'd lived on for years. I'd recommend you watch this in the highest available quality to see every detail possible. It was recorded on a phone with its zoom engaged after all. As he watched and contemplated on what creature he could possibly be looking at, the creature ripped off either a bark or branch from the tree it stood by. The shocking thing, however, was it did not do it in a way an animal would, instead in a way a human would. After a second or two, he throws it into the water and you can hear a splash. The creature keeps digging and rips off some more branches or bark. The young man is still watching, trying to figure out what the creature was doing as well. His thoughts were interrupted when the creature before him suddenly stood up. It was not just the way it stood up, but how it did. It did so in the very way a human would, using both his legs and back. This startled the man, but for the first time, he could see the creature in all its glory. It was big, it was tall, and it was muscular. This startled the man and he ran without looking back. The last thing he wanted was to have that creature on his trail. If you've watched horror movies or anything, you know that this is the best decision to have taken. But we are still lost. What was that creature? Why was it there? And what was it doing? We can't seem to figure it out. If you have some answers, share them with us in the comments section.